for the event. Dan Reicher taking the whole damn thing with Horruskh, one listing, with arguably the greatest name for a list in the history of Earth, with the Lion does not concern himself with a second list. Phenomenal. Horruskh, Frother, Garlgast, triple Arkno, or triple Siege Terras, double Nashers, Executioners, and double Axers round out the list. That takes it all. Welcome back to Tyrants on the Field. As always, I'm your host, Joe. We are talking about lock and or load. That's right, lock and load just occurred at Warfare Weekend here in the States, in the beautiful state of Missouri, in the wonderful town of St. Louis, with one of the best baseball teams in the entire world, the St. Louis Cardinals. We're not talking about them. We're talking about all things Iron Gauntlet, all things Steamforged Games, War Machine at Warfare Weekend in the form of Lock and Load. That's right. You know what? You love it. It is back, and this time in POG form from SFG. They have taken over all the War Machine events at Warfare Weekend, have rebranded and packaged those into Lock and Load. So very exciting stuff, and they are going to make this the Lock and Load both here and in the UK coming up next year. Premier events that will host in the States. It is the host point for the Iron Gauntlet finals. The Iron Gauntlet, for those that are unaware, is an event that you can get in one of two ways. One is to earn points throughout the year at different Iron Gauntlet qualifiers, or IG qualifiers for those in the know. And those are scattered throughout the country, including at larger events. Typically, convention level events will be an IG. Some of your larger steamrollers may also qualify to be an IG event, but you have to get actually approved to be in the IG event, and that criteria is determined by Steamforged Games, and they'll be doing that again this year for 2026, or this upcoming year, 2026. This is the 2025 one. The other way is to go in to Lock and Load and play in the grueling last chance qualifier for one of the coveted spots in the IG. So this year, the top 10 in the IG qualifier were able to qualify over into the IG finals. Some years it's less because the priority goes to those that have actually already earned IG points. Those folks are offered first, and then there's a number of spots that are held back for the IG qualifier. This year it ended up being 10. 10 spots for the 32-person event. And we'll go over how they did the actual IG finals in a moment. But first, I want to talk about last chance qualifier. So let's get into the statistics for the IG qualifier. So for the IG qualifier, we had 42 Brave Souls start out the day. What were they playing? Because again, this is a show all about what they're playing and why. And let's get into it here. So as you can see on the screen, we had 9 players playing Shadowflame Shard. They were the most popular faction at the event. Shadowflame Shard has been very popular this year. They were the most played at WTC recently, followed by Necrofactorium with 5 players, followed by Old Umbry with 5 players. Dusk had 4 players. Brinebloods had 4 players. Gravediggers had 3 players. Grimkin making a strong statement with 2 players. Orgoth, 2 players. Cephalix, Dark Operations, 2 players. Khador Wintercore, 2 players. Rulic Guard, 1 player. Army of the Western Reaches, 1 player. Thornfall Alliance, 1 player. So pigs representing. And 1 brave soul on Storm Legion, Signar Storm Legion. All right. Let's also talk a little bit about how the player concentrations were for this event. And when I'm talking about player concentration, I mean in player rating. Again, very imperfect measure, but it's a measure that we have of general engagement for the players. In the LCQ, we had a pretty high engagement level for, I would say, a majority of the players going into it. Bulk of the players, so 17 of the 32, so were at least 400 points in the rating. So at least a 400 or above. You had 17, 400 above. The way that breaks down is 9 between 400 and 500, 8 between 500 and 600, and 1 600 to 700 level player that hadn't previously qualified in. Then you had 24 players. The bulk of the players in the event were 300 or less. 12 players were completely unrated, simply meaning they hadn't had enough events in Longshanks under the tags that they selected to have a rating yet. So fantastic turnout, 42 for the LCQ. Win and you're in is kind of the motto, and 10 players were able to do so. So let's get into what were the win rates at this event. And we kind of know what the win rates have been traditionally this year. And this event kind of flips a lot of it on its head in very interesting ways. Dusk House Callus with a 69% win rate for the event. They were 11-5. They had a phenomenal last chance qualifier. Across the 4 players playing Dusk, we saw a very, very strong showing. Grimkin, also a very strong showing. 2 players, 5 wins, 3 losses, 63% win rate. Shadowflame Shard, 61% win rate. Again, this was the most played faction at the event. 33 games played, 20 wins, 13 losses, 61% win rate. Gravediggers, 12 games played, 7 up, 5 down, 58% win rate. Factorium, 20 games played, 11 up, 9 down, 55% win rate. Thornfall Alliance with a solid 50%, 1 player playing of 2-2 on the day. Sea Raiders, 2 players, 6 games played, 3 up, 3 down, 50% win rate. Old Umbry, 18 games played, 5 players, 8 up, 10 down, 44% win rate. Worst we've seen Old Umbry perform on the aggregate at an event of significant size. So, interesting data point here. Brine Blood Marauders, 14 games played, 6 up, 8 down, 43% win rate. Army of the Western Reaches, 1 player, 1 up, 3 down, 25% win rate. Rulic Guard, 1 up, 3 down, 25% win rate. The 2 Dark Operations players, not the best day for them. 1-5 collectively, 17% win rate. Complete opposite of what we saw at the WTC, where they hoisted an insane win rate. At this event, little less of a performance. Winter Core, two players, 6 games played, 1 up, 5 down, 17% win rate. And our Brave Storm Legion player was 0 for 3. So let's talk about Dusk a little bit more. Let's get into the leaders, how those were played, and how that shook out. Helith ruled the day. Helith was the play and the drop into the meta. We have 9 games played for her, most by a House Callus caster. 8 wins, 1 loss, 89% win rate for her. Iris, 1 game played, 1 win, 100% win rate. Hazaroth, 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Moraine, 2 games played, 0 for 2. 0 for 2 for Moraine. Not a great day, but Hazaroth had it. Helith was where it was at for Dusk in this event. That is where the bulk of their wins came from. Tyrus chipping in a win. in the one game he represented, and Hazaroth also chipping in a win in one out of the two games. But Helith had a day into this field. For Grimkin, Grimkin saw 4 games for the Wanderer and at least 3 games for the Old Witch. Likely 4 games for Old Witch. It's just not recorded. 3 up, 1 down for the Wanderer, 75% win rate. For Old Witch, 3 games played that have been recorded. 1 up, 2 down, 33% win rate. Shadowflame Shard. Shadowflame Shard had a great day, 61% win rate, as we talked about. How did that break down? Hyrax was the most played caster with 12 plays. He was 9-3, 75% win rate. Shiras, 9 games played, 6 up, 3 down, 67% win rate. Shiras had a very strong tournament. And then Nixian, 3 games played, 1 up, 2 down, 33% win rate. Not Nixian's best performance this year, but Kyrax definitely holding court into this field with a 75% win rate, and then Shiras helping him out. Very, very strong showing by Shadowflame Shard on the day. Gravediggers, we had Kane, Hasker, and Jakes representing. Buck Hasker, 3 games played, most recorded caster for Gravediggers at the event. Most of Gravediggers did not record who their leader was. Shame on you all. Probably Vargas. Probably, and could be Boom Boom, but we'll never know. But the way that this works out from a data perspective, Buck Hasker was 2-1 on his 3 games that he played, 67% win rate. Kane 1-0, 100% win rate. And Jake's 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Put your casters in, folks. Otherwise, people are going to think Buck Hasker's good. We can't be having that. Thorium, their 55% win rate. How did it get derived? They had a very diverse field for their casters. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 casters representing that all received data. We have the most played caster on the day was Decathus, 5 games played, 3-2, 60% win rate, followed by a tie for Kythos and Nikane, each with 4 games played. Kythos with 4 games played, 2 up, 2 down, 50% win rate. The meta has adjusted to Kythos and his nonsense, his feat, getting the hit fixing in necessary to combat him is just part of people's modus operandi now. Still able to pick up 2 wins on the day, but also had 2 losses, so more of a coin flip caster with the way the meta has prepared for him. Nikane, not quite baked enough. 4 games played, 1 up, 3 down, 25% win rate. Eviscerus, 1 game played and 1 loss. So 0% win rate for him. Sipsira, 3 games played, 2 up, 1 down, 67% win rate. Best win rate on the day with the 3 games played for Necrofactorium. But definitely a diverse stable, providing most of the win rate for Necrofactorium. On the Thornfall Alliance side, it was Midas that was recorded in 2 games, and he had the 2 losses. We don't know who had the 2 wins. Sea Raiders, 6 games. 4 were recorded, 2 wins for Horruskh, unsurprising. 2 games played for Butcher that were recorded, 2 losses. 0% win rate. Old Umbry, let's talk about it. 18 total games played, 8 wins, 10 losses. How does it break down from a caster perspective? The most played casters today was a split between Aslanov and Lesnoy. Aslanov, 6 games played, 4-2, 67% win rate for Aslanov. Unsurprising, this is kind of what he's been doing. The meta is still adapting to him and have not adapted well. Again, Aslanov asks a very specific set of questions. puts a very specific set of pressures on opponents. And if you don't have very specific answers to those questions, you are very dead. And if you are inexperienced in that matchup, as most people are, just because he has not been out very long, for people to actually get quality reps in, that we see this continue working of him in the meta, where he is very, very strong still. Lesnoy, 6 games played, tied for most with in Old Umbry, 1 up, 5 down, 17% win rate. The old Spelly Insight Boy was not able to get it done into the field. A really rough time for him. But by contrast, Reznikova, 3 games played, 2 up, 1 down, 67% win rate. My girl, good old Alessia Reznikova. People are starting to find their stride with her, and I know that I am as well. Like that's a really fantastic caster that has a lot of upside and potential as we continue into a brave new world. And then good old Yana. Yana had 1 game played. Yana lost that game. The bear in the bear faction just has a little bit of trouble on the day. So Old Umbry, bolstered by Aslanov and Reznikova. Lesnoy, very popular at the event, just could not break through on the day. Brian Bloods, let's talk about their leader breakdown. 43% win rate on the day. However, most played caster was Shadow Tongue, 6 games played, 2 up, 4 down, 33% win rate. Ragemonger, though, 5 games played, 4 up, 1 down, 80% win rate. Ragemonger was hot for the event. Firequill, 2 games played, 2 losses. He tried very hard. And somebody played Foul Blood. 1 game played, 1 loss, 0% win rate. But I'm sure they were not sober when they were doing that. So good stuff. Army of the Western Reaches, we had 3 games for Zadesh, 1 game for Jalam. The 1 win for Army of the Western Reaches coming with Zadesh. 2 losses to Zadesh as well for the 33% win rate for Zadesh. Jalam, 1 game played, 1 loss. 0% win rate. Rulik Guard, looks like it was a 2-2 for Osram and Durgan. Durgan was 0 for 2, and Osram looks to be 1-1. Dark Operations, Siphon, 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Kythos, 3 games played, 0 wins. 0% win rate for Kythos and Dark Operations at the last chance qualifier. I think we have adjusted to what Kythos is doing. Winter Core, 6 games played, 1 up, 5 down. As we said, 17% win rate. Vilcool, the lone win. 1 game played for 100% win rate. Baranova, 4 games played, no wins. We do not know where the second win came from because they did not record their caster. Storm Legion, 3 games played, 3 losses. They played Kane 2 twice, and that was what the recorded amount was. So that is your army and caster breakdown at the LCQ. Let's jump back into the action and talk about the top 10 that actually made it over into the IG. So Shane T, our big winner for the event, 4-0. One of the 3 4-0s, but the top spot at the event, taking first based on tie breaks with Shadow Flame Shard, rocking a pair consisting of Shyrus, Strike, Kyrax, with a very interesting Hydrix, very interesting double Hydrix and Vipex build. Good on you, Shane. Michael Bressers, also a 4-0 with Dusk at the event. Combo of Helith and Tyrus. Helith with Phantasm. Tyrus with various things. A 4-0 for Brian Bloods. Good old Danger Moose. 4-0 with a combination of Shadow Tongue, and Ragemonger. Excellent job getting the Brines across the finish line. Good enough for third place. In fourth place, That'll Bob with Necrofactorium, rocking a combo of Sipsira with a Hellraker and Decithus doing Decithus things. All right, then we also had Mark Taylor with his Dusk, rocking Helith, Double Phantasm, and Hazaroth, double Eidolon Aberration. We had Keith Romero with Shadowflame Shard, rocking Shyrus Trike, and Nixian. Nixian, more traditional build, Aklas, Vipex, and Wyvern. Joe Cox in seventh, off the top rope with Dusk, rocking Hazaroth Phantasm and Helith Phantasm with 3 and 1. Our last 4 and 0 was Danger Moose. All the rest of these have been 3 and 1. In eighth place, Jay Briggs, 3 and 1 with Orgoth on the day. Horruskh, Garlgast, Spiderhead Garlgast as a note, with Oriax as his off list. Grim Rob out of Colorado, 3 and 1 on the day, ninth, good enough for ninth place, getting into the LCQ, or making it through the LCQ with the Child and the Wonder. And the last but not least in the top 10, Luke Vasquez with Shadowflame Shard. Again, Shyrus Trike and fairly traditional Kyrax with Skilla, 3 Vipexes, and friends. So looking again at what makes it through, we have 4 Shadowflame Shard making it through. We have 3 Dusk making it through. We have a Brine Bloods, a Necrofactorium, and an Orgoth and a Grimkin to round out our top. Absolutely fantastic work by everyone in the event, all attending. 3 Shadowflame Shard making it through, 3 Dusk, Grimkin, Orgoth, Necrofactorium, and Brines make it from the LCQ into the Iron Gauntlet finals. Into the Iron Gauntlet. Iron Gauntlet was set up in pods this year. So one of the neat things that they did, and for those that are soccer fans, you'll recognize this fairly immediately. Or if you've watched a World Cup of soccer. So soccer fans or casual fans, going to explain how pools work or groups work. So in large soccer tournaments, typically, you have what is known as a group stage. And in a group stage, you essentially have a small batch of teams that all play each other, and the best of that group go through to a single elimination bracketed tournament. A similar concept is being applied here for Iron Gauntlet. The way that it works out is the 32 players will be in the pods, 4 pods of 8, for those mathing at home. The 4 pods of 8 will produce the top 4 from each pod, will then go into the LCQ. Or sorry, if not the LCQ, will then go into the IG finals or top 16. And they'll play a single elimination game. The reasoning behind the group stage is that you ensure that everybody gets a good amount of games, so they all feel like they've had a proper tournament, a proper chance. You help eliminate some variance and then get to a point where you can do single elimination because you have essentially one of the best players on that day proceeding through to that phase, as opposed to just being one and done. So helps get you from a larger field to a smaller field where a single elimination doesn't feel quite as bad. and gives you a way to wrap up a larger event fairly cleanly over the 2 days, with everyone getting at least 3 games, unless you qualify for day 2, and then you'll have at least one more game. All right, so in Pod A, we had the following breakdown of armies. We had 2 Shadowflame Shard, 2 Orgoth, 2 Dusk, 1 Winter Core, and 1 Necrofactorium. In this pod, we had 1 player who was 600 or greater. We had 4 players that were between 500 and 600. We had 2 players that were between 300 and 400, and 1 player that was between 100 and 200 from a rating perspective. Let's look at the win rates for this particular pod. Victorium, 100% win rate. Again, only 1 player. 3 games played, 100% win rate. House Callus, again, 67% win rate in the IG Pod A. 2 players, six games played, 4 up, 2 down. Helith again, 2 games played, 100% win rate. 3 games for Tyrus, 2 up, 1 down, 67% win rate. Rain, 1 game played, 0 wins. Winter Core, 33% win rate. 1 game for Vilkul, she won that game. And then Borashek, 2 games played, 0-2. Shadowflame Shard, 6 games played, 2 up, 4 down, 33% win rate. Not quite as lucky in Pod 2 or Pod A. Hyrax had 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Shyrus, 4 games played, 1 up, 3 down, 25% win rate. So Shyrus just not able to get it done for Shadowflame Shard. Big reason why their win rate was in the tank in Pod A. Sea Raiders, 2 players, 6 games played, 2 up, 4 down, 33% win rate. Horruskh, 4 games played, 2 up, 2 down, 50% win rate. Sabrith was the off list. Sabrith, 2 games played, 0-2, 0% win rate. Let's see who has proceeded on out of Pod A. So in Pod A, we have a Necrofactorium player, Joseph Gillespie, taking the whole thing at 3-0. We have Michael Bresser coming in at 2-1 with Dusk. Ryan McCoffin, 2-1 with Dusk as well. And then rounding out this pod's top 4 and proceeding on to the top 16, Shane T with his Shadowflame Shard, winning the LCQ and then making it into the top 16 from Pod A in the 4th spot with his Shadowflame Shard. Excellent, excellent job. All right, on to Pod the B. Jump to Pod B here in just a moment. All right, on to Pod B. Pod B breakdown. We had 2 Dusk players, 2 Grimkin, 1 Old Umbry, 1 Shadowflame Shard, 1 Brine pardon me, and 1 Orgoth. On to Pod B, as we've been discussing, we have 2 Dusk players, 2 Grimkin, 1 Old Umbry, 1 Shadowflame Shard, 1 Brine, and 1 Orgoth. Sea Raider, again, from a composition standpoint, we had 1 player between 600 and 700, 6 players between 500 and 600, 1 player between 100 and 200. So, tremendous work in this pod. Let's look at how win rate broke out. The Raiders in this pod were 3-0, 100% win rate. Horruskh every game, surprising. Shadowflame Shard 2-1, 67% win rate. Hyrax 1 up, no down, 100% win rate. Shyrus 1 game recorded, lost, 0% win rate. So not certain where the other win derived from because it wasn't recorded. Brine Blood Marauders 2 up, 1 down, 67% win rate. Shadow Tongue went Shadowgun 2 games recorded, one up, one down. The third win, for the second win, was not recorded as to who the caster was. Dusk House Callus, 6 games played, 3 up, 3 down, 50% win rate. Tyrus went 2 and 1. Helith went 1 and 2. 50% win rate for Dusk House Callus in this pod. 33% win rate for Old Umbry. Old Umbry 1 and 2 on the day. Aslanov, all 3 games, 1 up, 2 down, 33% win rate. This pod was very ready for what Aslanov was bringing to the table. Grimkin, 6 games played, 1 up, 5 down. Wanderer, 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. The Child, 1 game played, 0 wins, 1 loss. The Dreamer, 2 games played, 0 wins, 2 losses. 5th result not recorded from a caster perspective. So we just don't know. So let's see who qualified out of this pod. Dan Riker of Battle Driven fame. 3 and 0 with Orgoth, takes first in this pod. Alex Cosma with his Brine Bloods, 2 and 1, taking second. Ryan Sharaboga of Spell Rack fame, 2 and 1 with his Dusk. And then Eric Tyrant Ike, making it across the finish line with his Shadowflame Shard at 2 and 1. That is your top 4 from Pod 2. This, spoiler alert, will contain the eventual something of the whole event. So on to Pod C. Pod C's breakdown, 2 Brine Blood Marauder players, 2 Storm Legion players, 1 Shadowflame Shard, 1 Dusk, 1 Infernal, and 1 Lone Winter Core. From a player breakdown, again, 600 to 700 rated player, 500 to 600 rated players, 1 400 to 500 rated player, and then 1 100 to 200 rated player. From a win rate standpoint, let's go ahead and take a peek. Winter Core, 100% win rate on the day. Baronova, 1 game played, 100%, and then Sovereign, 2 games played, 2 wins, 100% win rate. Winter Core on their game in Pod C. Brine Blood Marauders, 6 games played, 4 up, 2 down, 67% win rate. Shadow Tongue, 1 game played, 100% win rate. Ragemonger, 5 games played, 3 and 2 on the day, 60% win rate. Excellent Brine Blood Marauder play out of this pod. Storm Legion, 6 games played, 3 up, 3 down, 50% win rate. How that breaks out is 2 games for Calder, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. 2 games for Huxley, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Kane 4, 1 game played, 1 win, 100% win rate, and 1 did not record their caster. 33% win rate. Zadarov, 2 games played, 0 and 2. The 1 win, caster not recorded. Shadowflame Shard, 1 and 2 on the day. 2 games for Shyrus, 1 and 1. Kyrax, 1 game played, and it was a loss. Dusk House Callus, 0% win rate in this pod, 0 for 3. Played Helith in all 3 games. All right, and what makes it through? Captain Ninja Pants, good old Nate, 3 and 0 with his Winter Core. Maxwell Coot goes 2 and 1 with his Storm Legion, making it through in the 2nd place spot. Jimmy Russell, 2 and 1 with Brine Blood Marauders, and then Danger Moose, 2 and 1 with his Brine Blood Marauders, securing the top 4 for Pod C and moving on to the top 16 bracket. All right, on to our final pod, Pod D. Oh, we got to do it that way. Okay. All right, Pod D. Pod D, our army breakdown is 2 Cricks, 2 Shadowflame Shard, 1 Old Umbry, 1 Secret Dominion, 1 Winter Core, and 1 Dusk House Callus. From a player breakdown perspective, we have 1 600 700 rated player. We have 4 500 600 rated players. We have 2 400 to 500 rated players and 1 unrated player. Excellent work, everyone. Let's get into the win rates for the event. All right, Shadowflame Shard. 6 games played, 5 up, 1 down, 83% win rate on the day. Cyrus, 2 games played, 2 up, 100% win rate. And Nixian, 4 games played, 3 up, 1 down, 75% win rate. Nixian having an excellent Pod D. Winter Core having a great day. 3 games played, 2 up, 1 down, 67% win rate. 1 win for Baranova, 1 game played, 100% win rate there. And Sakura, 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Necrofactorium, 50% win rate, 6 games played, 3 up, 3 down. Again, we see a real good diversity of casters here. We have Nicane, 1 game played, 1 win, 100% win rate. Sipsira, 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Aviserys, 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. And then Decathus, 1 game played, and he lost that game, so 0% win rate for Decathus. House Callus, 3 games played, 1 up, 2 down, 33% win rate. Iris, a loss. Elith recording a loss, and we're not sure who got the win because they did not record the caster. Old Umbry also going 1-3 in this pool. This time it was Galena in all 3 games, 1 and 2. 33% win rate for Galena. And Secret Dominion 0-3. Thorell, 1 game played, did not win that one. Kruger, 1 game played, did not win that one. Third one not recorded as to who the caster was. Jumping to results, it was Peyton Pierce, 3-0 with his Shadowflame Shard. Spinball Wizard, Dan Horruskh, out of my meta. Shout out to Dan. Went 2-1 with his Winter Core. Good enough for second in his pod. Shane Irons taking third with Necrofactorium at 2-1. And then Keith Romero with Shadowflame Shard also going 2-1. So 2 Shadowflame Shard advance from here, 1 Winter Core, and 1 Necrofactorium. And that gives us our top 16. Jumping over to day 2. Single elimination, 16-player event, the Iron Gauntlet. So let's jump into the breakdown of the top 16. Top 16 most represented army at the event and in the finals. Shadowflame Shard, 4 players. Dusk with 3 players. Brinebloods also with 3 players. Necrofactorium with 2 players. Orgoth with 1 player. Khador Wintercore with 2 players. And Storm Legion with 1 player. From a player rating perspective, very interesting spread. Not unexpected, though. 4 of the players in the top 16, 1/4 of the players were 600 or better rated players. 9 of the players were between 500 and 600. 1 of the players was between 400 and 500. 2 of the players between 300 and 400 is how your top 16 breaks out from a ratings perspective for those interested in such nonsense. Onwards to the advanced statistics for the factions. Raiders, the big winners on the day, 4-0, 100% win rate. One of the things to note here on the win and play rates is that because it is single elimination, it is very possible that a faction does not record any significant amount of games in this style of event. And there would be a singular 100% winner, which happens to be Orgoth in this case. It was Horruskh, again, Riker 1 listing Horruskh in this event, 4-0. Duskhouse Callus, 6 games played, 3 up, 3 down, 50% win rate on the day. Tyrus, 4 games played, 2 up, 2 down, 50% win rate. Helith, 1 game shown and recorded, and she lost that game. We don't know what the third win was from because it did not have a caster recorded. Necrofactorium, 4 games played, 2 up, 2 down, 50% win rate. Viscerus going 2-0, 100% win rate. Nicane, 1 game played, 1 loss. Mortenabra, 1 game played, 1 loss. Shadowflame Shard, 7 games played, 3 up, 4 down, 43% win rate. Nixian, 3 games played, most games played for Shadowflame Shard. 3 games played, 2 up, 1 down, 67% win rate there. Shyrus, 2 games played, 1-1, 50% win rate. Kyrax with the Goose Egg, 2 games played, 0-2, 0% win rate. Brine Blood Marauders in the finals, not amazing. 5 games played, 2-3, 40% win rate. 1 win for Thorga Boomhowler for a 100% win rate based on play rate. Ragemonger, 2 games played, 1 up, 1 down, 50% win rate. Shadow Tongue, 2 games played, 0-2. Shadow Tongue did not have the magic in this event. Winter Core, 3 games played, 1 up, 2 down. Sakura with the lone win, 1-0. Savarin, 0-1, and Baronova, 0-1. Storm Legion, 0-1, 0% win rate. Don't hassle the Hucks, could not get it done. So looking at the finals, first player with the 53% win rate advantage, 47% win rate for the second player. 15 total games played. Wolves at Our Heels was round 1. Two Fronts was round 2. Trench Warfare was round 3. And the finals was Color Guard. So very interesting decisions there. Assassination, 4 games were decided by Assassination, 11 games by Scenario. All right, on to our top 4 we'll highlight for the event. Dan Riker taking the whole damn thing with Horruskh, 1 listing, with arguably the greatest name for a list in the history of Earth, with the Lion does not concern himself with a second list. Phenomenal. Horruskh, Frother, Garlgast, triple Arc Node Jackals, Siege Terras, double Nashers, Executioners, and double Axers round out the list. That takes it all. In second place, Peyton Pierce, 3-1 on the day with Shadowflame Shard, rocking Nixian and Shirus Trike, and Nixian, traditional Nixian build. In third place, Ryan McCauthen, 2-1 with Dusk, rocking a pairing of Tyrus and Moraine. No Phantasm in his builds. And Shane Irons, 2-1 for the event, doing Tennessee proud with Necrofactorium, rocking a pairing of Viscerus and Nicane. In fifth place, we had Ryan Shiraboga with Duskhouse Callus. Sixth place, Alex, the Professor Cosma of Amusing Panda fame, going 1-1 with his Brine Bloods. Jimmy James Russell going 1-1 with his Brine Bloods. And rounding out our top 8, Dan Spinball Wizard. Couldn't have done Detroit prouder if he tried. Had an amazing year overall with his Winter Core, 1-1 to round out your top 8. Great job to all those in the Iron Gauntlet. Congratulations due to Dan Riker and giving Orgoth the win at the Iron Gauntlet. So Iron Gauntlet is the culmination of the competitive year at Lock and Load, and we start the next competitive cycle as we get ready for the January update. We get ready for new Steamroller. both coming in on the 21st. And we had a outstanding keynote that I suggest everybody go and watch if they have not seen. I have a video talking all about it before, so I don't want to bore you too much with all the details from it, as there is too much to unpack. However, I do want to talk a little bit about a few things from that in this. The big news is the spell rack is going away, and I've already made a separate video on just that piece. But I've had some additional thoughts as I've been kind of simmering on it since the news. I'm very, very excited for it. I think the plans and the reasoning behind it are very sound in what they're attempting to do. And I think I keep calling where we're heading is sort of the brave new world. And the reason I say that is it is a fundamental paradigm shift in how this edition of War Machine is going to play. And this next year is going to be a very different style year because we are getting such a major shift in the game and how people have had to approach Mark IV or been able to approach Mark IV. And Ryan Scherboga made this point on his cast that has resonated with me in terms of the rack really allowed you to effectively one-list events. And I bring this up because Riker was able to run one-list Horruskh. And the joke in Orgoth for the last 3 years has really been it's just Horrusk's faction. Everyone else is just kind of there. But you can pretty much always just play Horruskh and have a game, if not an advantaged game. And the rack is a not insignificant part of that, particularly the hit fixing that is available on the rack, and then the other variety of tools that normalizes matchups for Orgoth in different ways. It is very interesting to me that several of the reasons given were around approachability for new players. One of the things that I see immediately with this is also approachability for returning players. The rack has been a very divisive mechanic amongst those that prefer legacy factions because when you have a legacy caster, you are locked into what that legacy caster and faction does. And the rack allows you to manage and mitigate problems and have your best spells regardless of the caster that you wish to play. So you can normalize matchups a little bit easier. The legacy factions never had that ability. Additionally, with the stat reductions that are coming, the lowering of Mat and Rat, you would do well to look at the legacy factions and kind of look through their stats, and you will see that this is also normalizing the Mark IV factions to more of a legacy standpoint. So I think part of what will happen, intentionally or not, is that if you have someone that is wanting to return or wants to play with an older faction, I think that they are going to be far more viable in the transitionary period, bulk of the early year next year to potentially the entirety of the year next year, that legacy factions, and by that I mean armies of legend, that's how you'll find them in the app, I think have far more game in the Brave New World than one would expect. So if you've got friends that have been on the fence, January 21st is going to be a good time to tap them on the shoulder and go, hey, there's a brand new steamroller. They've lowered the lethality within the game, kind of normalize things, and I think that we can have a much better game if you're willing to play your legacy faction into my stuff than we would have had previously. Might be a good time to re-engage them and get them talking about it. Just kind of a thought that I've had, just thinking through where the game is heading. That the viability I think goes up a bit for those that have preferred legacy factions or would prefer to play a legacy faction at this point, just because they don't see anything in the Mark IV factions that they like aesthetically or playstyle wise. So I think making the game more accessible is a very good goal. I think making the game a little less lethal is a very good thing. Reducing some of the ranges on ranged attacks, very good thing. Increasing the variance, I think, is a good thing for the game longer term. One of the reasons that this game got so big in Mark II that I don't think the community actually understands, and coming from somebody that was there in Mark II when it was first growing, is it set itself up as highly anti-GW. It was an alternative and very much built itself out as that. And part of that identity also came from the fact that there was greater variance in the game, not only because of where the dice math was at the time, but because of the inaccuracies present in a game without true pre-measurement. You had ways to always measure your control, so you had limited pre-measurement. So you could do Pythagorean theorem and figure out distances and all that, and you can always eyeball distances, those type of things. But there were lots of games that were decided because people either took a risk of taking a charge that they might fail because they didn't know what the distance actually was because they couldn't quite pre-measure what they needed to, or they would succeed at something that they were able to do. So there was more variant ways to win or lose a game. And I'm not advocating for going back to any of that measurement system at all. That is not what I'm advocating here. But I do think additional variance adds to the ability for players to just come into this game, feel like they have a bit of a chance, more so than not, and find ways to get better at the game and want to continue and improve. So I think making the variance a little bit more, lowering the lethality where it's not so absolute that whoever strikes first is going to remove a unit every single time, and lowering the efficiency of infantry attacks, I think is good for the game long term. I think it continues to help improve cohorts and their role in the game and better define their role in the game. So I'm very excited for it, as I've stated. So that was Iron Gauntlet and Lock and Load. Let's talk about the team tournament that occurred at Lock and Load.